I was walking home during a blizzard, snow crunching under my boots. The streets were empty, silent. Then I noticed them. Footprints, bare feet, too small for an adult. They appeared beside mine, pressed fresh into the snow. My chest tightened. The footprints began circling me, though no one was there. I turned and froze. A girl stood barefoot in the storm. Her dress was thin, her hair dripping with ice. "Are you lost?" I whispered. She didn't answer. She only smiled and pointed at my house in the distance. I ran home. My frozen hands shook as I fumbled with the key. Finally, the lock clicked. I pushed the door open. Warm air wrapped around me. Relief. But then, I froze again. Wet footprints trailed across the floor, leading upstairs. I followed them, heart pounding. They stopped at my bedroom door. I pushed the door open. My room was dark, except for the window. And there she was, standing inside, dripping snow onto the carpet. She looked at me with that same smile, but this time she whispered, "You let me in."
They dared me to spend 1 minute inside the old house at the end of the street. Its windows were boarded, but the door creaked open like it had been waiting. The air was heavy, smelling of dust and rot. I started counting the seconds on my phone. At 23, I heard footsteps upstairs. At 35, a whisper drifted down, my name. I froze. The screen went black, though the battery had been full. By 50, the whisper was right behind me. At 60, the door slammed shut, and I never came back out. But in that darkness, I felt something touch me, a cold hand on my shoulder. I stumbled into a room crammed with books. The air whispered around me, "Read one." But I dared not. The walls closed in tighter, the whispers growing more insistent. I reached for a book, The Lost Ones. It opened on its own, pages fluttering madly, revealing secrets I could never unsee. The ghost in my room. Every night, I hear someone breathing in the corner of my room. At first, I thought it was in my head, but when I whispered, "Who's there?" the breathing stopped, and a faint voice whispered back, "You." I grabbed my phone flashlight and shined it toward the sound. Nothing was there, except a shadow clinging to the wall, shaped like a person. I ran for the door, but it slammed shut on its own. Now, every night at 3:13, the ghost comes closer. Last night, it stood right at my bedside. Tonight, it might climb in. I've tried everything to get rid of it. Salt circles, charms, prayers. Nothing works. I'm not even sure it wants to harm me, but its presence is suffocating, like it's draining the room of warmth and light. I can't remember the last time I felt safe in my own home. You could join me, you know? I've thought about it more times than I'd like. Something strange in the bathroom mirror. My reflection wasn't moving with me. I froze, toothbrush still in my mouth, as the reflection slowly smiled even though I wasn't. My heart pounded. I leaned closer, but the mirror version of me leaned back, eyes wide and unblinking. Suddenly, the bathroom light flickered, and when it came back on, the reflection was gone. The mirror showed only an empty bathroom, no sink, no walls, no me, just blackness. And then from that endless dark, my reflection whispered, "Let me out." I stepped back, breath caught in my throat. "What do you want?" I stammered, feeling the cold tile underfoot. The voice responded, more clearly now, "I need you to come closer, so I can show you." Every instinct told me to run, but something about that voice, it felt like it wasn't just speaking to me, but pleading for help. I was scrolling through late-night static on my old TV when the screen froze. A new channel appeared. Channel 0. The picture shifted. Hallways I didn't recognize. Buzzing fluorescent lights humming in endless loops. It felt like the screen was breathing. Then the sound cut. A voice whispered through the static, "You're not supposed to see this." I grabbed the remote, but none of the buttons worked. Instead, the camera in the hall began to move, like something was walking closer. The lights flickered. Something tall and wrong shape shifted at the far end. The TV screen pulsed. The hallway door in the video was my front door. I heard the knob turning behind me.
I was the only passenger left when the bus rolled to a stop at midnight. The driver didn't speak, just stared at the empty road ahead. The streets were silent. Every building we passed looked abandoned, windows dark, shadows shifting behind cracked glass. I leaned forward and asked, "Where's the last stop?" The driver slowly turned his head, and I realized he had no face. The bus lurched forward again, but now the city outside was gone. Only blackness stretched beyond the windows. I tried to stand, but the aisle seemed to stretch longer and longer. Endless rows of seats repeating into the dark. Whispers rose around me, echoing from every empty chair. My name was being spoken, Over and over. I stumbled to the back door, but it was locked. Turning around, I froze. Every seat was now full. Pale, lifeless passengers stared at me. The faceless driver spoke at last. End of the line.
I had just crawled into bed when I heard it. 3 slow knocks at the front door. Midnight. The sound echoed again, louder. The whole house felt like it was holding its breath. I crept down the stairs, each step groaning under my weight. At the door, I peered through the peephole. Nothing, just darkness. Then I heard it, my name whispered softly right behind me. I spun around. No one was there. I opened the door just a crack. The night was silent, but muddy footprints led inside. I followed the trail. They ended at the hallway mirror. In the reflection, I wasn't alone. A faceless figure towered behind me. The mirror rippled, and it stepped out. The last thing I heard before blacking out was the knocking again. 3 slow taps from inside.